What's up, Tiger fans? Welcome back to episode 9 of The Streak Speak, and we are here today with our first ever behind-the-scenes look at someone who impacts our lives daily. But we're going to hear from him today, Dr. Coach Justin Lima. He's got all kinds of titles, been through a lot, so we're going to dive right into what he's been through. Obviously, thank you for joining us. Let's start with your path from athletics to college to coaching now, your different jobs. How have you ended up at Towson from about the age of 18? Just roll through kind of what that story looks like.
First of all, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can call me Justin.
Okay.
I don't make my athletes or anybody so again, if you want to call me coach, because that's what you're used to, that's what I tell my athletes. If you want to call me coach, call me coach. But otherwise, government names only. Yeah, I have the PhD. Obviously, I'm proud of it. So going back to when I was 18, I was kind of a late bloomer in sports.
Okay.
I did not play organized sports until 8th grade is when I played football, fell in love with it, blah, blah, blah. Went and played offensive line in college. Was an undersized kid, 225 pounds, playing O-line as a freshman. But I played because of the scheme we had. It was well. Gained weight with my offensive line coach, who was my first strength and conditioning coach. I went to my undergraduate for criminal justice.
Okay.
Graduated with, got good grades, was magna cum laude, was an academic All-American, and thought I had it all figured out with criminal justice. And then graduated. My O-line coach asked me if I would coach with him because I was a captain my senior year, and he had too many people to coach by himself. So I said sure, while I was going to grad school for criminal justice.
Sure.
And realized I didn't like that. Realized I did an internship, was in grad school, and I'm like, I am 22 years old. I'm too young to hate what I'm doing for a living, right? So I found out about strength and conditioning is, I'm born and raised in Massachusetts. So up north, unless it's a pro sport, nobody really knows or cares unless it's hockey. So found out about strength and conditioning, dove into strength and conditioning, got my master's degree in strength and conditioning in 2020. As part of my capstone, I needed a internship, so I interned at Harvard for 2 semesters. That led me to the University of Iowa with the football team in 2012.
Okay.
2012, Iowa leads me to University of College Park, Maryland. Worked there for 2 seasons, go back to Iowa for 5 seasons, and then come here in January of 2018, do the PhD from 2016 to 2020 in between the 2.
Yeah, and I think the position that you played, offensive line, they always talk about offensive linemen are sneaky the smartest guys in the football field.
Yeah.
True?
Oh, and because I was a bad athlete. I knew my physical limitations.
Yeah.
I was not the biggest, strongest, or fastest, especially in the weight room.
Right.
But I was an all-conference lineman 3 years in a row because I was on the field strong, right? Anatomically, my hips are not built to move well, right?
Sure.
I have different cam lesions and pincer things on my bones that don't allow me to anatomically move great in the weight room, but I can move on a field well.
Yeah.
And I knew that I wasn't the best speed-wise, so I would do things to mess with my opponent. If it was an outside run to the left and I'm playing right tackle, all right, I'm going to pass set him on this play, so he has to run outside me.
Sure.
But now he's like, wait a minute, why is he pass setting me on a run play?
Right.
So if I'm slow, but I can slow him up by doing something that makes him think because I can think and I know the whole scheme,
Right.
advantage me.
Exactly. And all along that time, you get married, you have 2 boys, and they're your pride and joy now. You kind of tell. So kind of going a little bit about that, about your personal life and how you kind of balance both what you do, what you have done, and kind of growing that personal side.
Yeah, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Just because, but honestly, when you find somebody that is really appreciative, my wife Megan is unbelievable. She's my rock. She's my soulmate. I truly believe that. I married correct because she was pregnant with our oldest Everett in 2000. So when I told you that we left Iowa in January, she was 5 months pregnant. Came here in March, and her whole family's in Iowa.
Okay.
Right. So she leaves her home to come with me to start a family. Right. And so just the support in that and understanding my career and that I'm going to have to move and just being my biggest advocate. I remember day 1 of my PhD, I'm like, I haven't been to school in 4 years.
Yeah.
What is all this online stuff? I have no idea what I'm doing. I was just I was ready to quit. And she's like, take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
Stop. So, she's unbelievable. Her family's unbelievable. And then my 2 children, right? Everett and Tate. Everything I do is to make them proud.
Yep.
And I tell my athletes this, or any recruits that come in, when I introduce myself, hey, my name is Justin, I say, look, I am a husband, father, coach. And if I do those things in that order, I'm actually a better coach because my family life is integrated. Like, my boys come to the sidelines. My boys come to practice. Megan and the boys, they'll be at practices. They'll be, in the weight room, just because I want it to be a seamless blend. I live less than a mile from here. I want my life to be part of it because I feel like that's just truly who I am. Yeah,
and that's a perfect lead to where I kind of wanted to go with the family side of football. The staff's obviously so big, the roster's so big that everybody kind of has a different role. Positional coaches, obviously Coach Ambrose, you guys. So when people are in your weight room, what do they view you as in terms of what you bring to the table intangibly? Are you always hard-nosed? Are you a guy people come to and talk about life, different things? Like, what do you offer these guys off the field that they value?
I think it's both. I'd say guys and girls, right? Yeah. Because I not only work, with the football team, but I work with the track and field throwers.
Yep.
And of course, my time here, when I got in January, I worked with the softball team. There was a period of time where there wasn't a lot of us, and I worked with swim and dive. Yeah. I worked with cross country. I worked with tennis. I've covered for, sprint jump turtle. So I've covered for a lot of teams because over in the weight room, we have a cover and move mentality. Like, we're all here to help each other out and work with different athletes. So I understand that I need to be a different person with each group of athletes on different days. The same person that I am with one group is not who I need to be with other people. Right. And even by the day, and you understand it being an athlete, some days it's a high central nervous system day. You're going, it's a heavy lift, or it's a recovery-based nature, and you don't need to be the same person every day. I think they get both from me. Like, they get whatever the day is required is who they're going to get. I have an open door policy where lots of athletes, again, I've worked with multiple different sports, so people know that they can come and talk to me about life struggles. Or there was a volleyball athlete, her and her coach came and were talking with some of me and my colleagues about, hey, career paths and strength and conditioning, and hey, Lima, can I pick your brain on this? And like, absolutely, because that's what I'm here to do. I view myself as a servant. My offensive line coach changed my life for the better, and now I think it's my job to pay it forward, because whether your career ends in 5, 10, 15 years or any of these other athletes here, your career is going to end. How can we, as the support staff, help you with your post-sport career?
Yeah, and we kind of talk about the group of colleagues that we have in the weight room. What are some of those people like to you? How do you guys kind of feed off of each other? What are your relationships between all those different types of personalities?
They're awesome, and that's the best part about us all, is we play off each other really well, right? Like, we don't hire clones, right? Like, the last thing we need is you don't need more people like me. Like, we don't need just more of the same thing. We need to be able to cover and move, and I think it starts at the top. I think Aaron Dregge's done a great job of assembling a staff where we help each other out in our, one person's strengths help out another person's weaknesses. So Aaron is that calm, cool, collect guy at the top that sees everything really well. And Amit, same thing. Like, I've never seen Amit get too high, get too low, and his ability to program is unbelievable and provide quality training. And again, same thing with Aaron with the teams that he works with. Henry being brought in and instantly just finding a way to work with the teams he works with, and just how much he cares. And because you're one of his athletes, but like, I was talking with the women's basketball girls the other day before a lift, like, just how much time and effort put it in. And then, Courtney Steele, watching her grow up, essentially. Like, I still see her as the very young and driven human being that she was, because she came in as an intern in 2019, and then just boom, 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 continued to grow, and see how she's evolved. And same with Kate Correa, right? She was a former intern for us last year, now full-time staff. Logan Fletcher, like, just how well we play off each other and work together and cover and move. It really is beautiful. Like, I just got off the phone with Amit when I'm coming down here. He's like, hey, I might need your help. Boom, no problem. I got you. Like, we work together like that. Yeah, and you specifically, especially now in football season, what's different about football training? I know a terminology you guys use is bulletproof the body. What does that all entail? Because that has to be both physical and mental, and really be impactful to last a full year of work. So my staff and I came up with the term, and this goes back to my even more original staff. Kate and Logan have been hired recently, but Zach Woodard, Kyle Hashimoto, right? Moto, and then Carson Clark. We came up with that word because we thought it was a more aggressive word than corrective exercise or therapy exercise, but it's the same notion. It's, hey, what are the areas of your body, regardless of the sport, because the same premise can be taken. I know Amit's kind of run with it with men's basketball, and Henry's doing some stuff with you guys in baseball, but what are some areas that are smaller in nature, but you want them to feel good when you play your sport? So like for us, when we would do anything, it's like, okay, how are we going to address, your neck, your wrist, your ankles, your groin, your knees, just things that you, again, maybe aren't the major compound lifts, but we want to address them to strengthen them so you're a stronger, more resilient athlete. Yep. And what we'll do is we'll just place that strategically when it needs to be placed. Typically for the guys that play, it would be right after the game. And we'll do some, tendon health, bulletproofing just to address those areas for the analgesic effect of isometrics, but also just to truly bulletproof that area so that way they are resilient to last the whole season. Yeah. My whole thing with our staff, you guys came here to play sport. Yeah. You weren't on your visit like, oh, I want to lift with Henry and I'll play some baseball while we're at it. No, you're coming here to play your sport. Yep. Our job is to be a support staff with the athletic trainers, nutritionists, sports psych, to keep you on the field so you can play games and practice. Mm-hmm. So how can we do that to the best of our ability? Yeah, and off the field too, and I think you apply to a lot of different athletes, like you said. I'm a social media follower of yours, and I know there are a lot of opinions that you have, a lot of things that you stand strong in. If you could grab every athlete's ear right now and give them your biggest antidote, piece of life advice across the board, what would that be? What would your number one piece of advice be? Discipline equals freedom. Sure. Plain and simple. Discipline equals freedom. If you have the discipline to do what you know you need to do, you will have the freedom to do what you need to do and what you want to do. And I've learned that. I learned it from a book. It's not my original quote. I learned it from the authors Jocko Willink and Leif Babin in their book Extreme Ownership. I read it in 2014. I even put it in the preface of my dissertation for my PhD because I do believe it. Yeah. If you have the discipline to do what you need to do, you have the freedom to do what you want to do. So you, baseball athlete, if you have the discipline to eat right, sleep right, go to the cage when you don't want, study the pitchers to see what they're going to do, you have the freedom to go up there to the plate and be like, I know what this guy is doing. Absolutely. And just understand and not have that like fear in your head. I mean, that's where if you hear like the best quarterbacks, right? Everybody's making fun of Peyton Manning when he was doing Omaha, but like he's making those checks because he knows what's going to happen. Absolutely. So if he had the discipline to study the film, so he has the freedom to call whatever he wants to call come game day. Yeah. So that's number one. And we'll jump into our final question, our keystone final question every single time. Besides jumping on here in short notice, what have you done today to make Towson Athletics a better place than it was yesterday? Ooh, I mean, I had a great mentorship meeting with Kate and Logan. We talked for about an hour, helped them get ready, and do things that they need to do. And then I started printing off my calendars because I like to plan pen and paper, and then I'll take it to Excel and I'll go to Team Builder. So, just continuing to plan for the future with all the teams of my programming. Absolutely. Well, appreciate you again coming on. We appreciate all you guys tuning in. Keep supporting the Tigers as we kind of close down the fall, start up the winter. See you guys around. Go Tigers.